Hello and welcome back. I'm Deirdre and today is day 2 of my no fuss zone cleaning and I'm in the kitchen. Why no fuss? Well, pretty easy to know. If no fuss and cleaning come together, it starts to be a really good thing, doesn't it? But it's also that that's sort of my take on minimalism at the moment, is not so much the stuff, that we all have the stuff, but rather the stuff in here, and trying to limit the complications in life that we can layer onto ourselves. We give ourselves so many routines and things, and yes, they make life simple, but we need to also make them really personal so they work for us. Now, in terms of the Fly Lady zone cleaning, there are 5 different zones because there's one for each of the weeks of the month, and you simply divide your home up into 5 zones. So it has to work though for your home. Now mine doesn't exactly conform with the Fly Ladies concept. I think, as I said last week, I do zone 1 is my entry, my little entrance hallway and my balcony. Then zone 2 is my kitchen. Zone 3 is my bedroom and study. Zone 4 is my living, dining, TV area, which is a sort of big open plan area, has all the windows, it's the monster. And then zone 5 is my bathroom, loo, laundry and my car, because otherwise my car gets left behind. And oh boy, my car at the moment is so dirty, so I think I'm going to have to skip ahead for that one and do it this week. But it's all a matter of personalising those zones to suit your home. I put my 2 lighter ones, as it were, the entry and the sort of utility areas in the car, I put those in the first week and the last week, simply because they take the least time for me. They may not for you, but I'm in an apartment. It's the size of a smaller house, a very small house. But having said that, it's not tiny, and I still need to do everything that I used to do when I had the big house. Only they're not quite as many bathrooms, but that's what you do, you personalise it. So today I've got some things that I need to do, and it'll be tomorrow as well, because I have to get away and do some other things, but I have to clean and tidy my pantry and distill good sort. I've got to clean my refrigerator, and there are things like seasonal jobs, like I've got to sand off my cutting boards and give them a good wax. I need to wash the rug on the floor, which has been crying out for me to do that, but it's a woolen one and so it's heavy and it takes a lot of time to dry, so that has to be done. It's a beautiful day today. Everything else is just a quick wipe down, make sure everything's in decent condition, but nothing else really. Maybe my tea cupboard, because that's looking a bit messy, and in fact I just made a cup of tea. Just a minute ago. It's one from Red Seal. It's a New Zealand company. I'm in Australia, but I am a New Zealander, so I do like New Zealand products. They're often very clean, and Red Seal is a really old company that's been making beautiful things for a very long time. This one is a peach and pineapple hot or cold brew. So, cup of tea, but it did make me look at my tea cupboard and I've got to get in there. Okay, let's get to it. So this is my kitchen, and as I say, normally I have a rug down here, but it's out air drying on the washing line, which is a big thing about this place because it's such a small and old apartment block. We have wonderful things like washing lines to dry clothes on. So there's the other side. So this is actually where I walk in. Now there are a couple of things that I'm thinking of getting rid of. One of is this, which is sort of like a little shelf system I've had at the end here. Now, when I first moved, I needed it. Now I've shuffled things around a lot, so I don't. I need to cull down a bit here. And this is my pantry, which is, it doesn't look bad, but it's actually a bit messy. I need to reorganise things and just sort it out a bit. Make sure I know exactly what's there. This is all a bit jumbled, need to sort that out. And things like, I have this big bag of plain oats, which I need to, I think there's an empty, yes there is, there's an empty container up here, which I need to wash, and they can go into those. But I was also thinking that I can shuffle some of the smaller ones around. I don't need to buy big amounts. Now flour, yep, obviously use that. The rice, well, I only buy the small bags now, so that could go into a smaller container. That sort of thing. My food processor lives here, keeps it off the bench, and while I use it probably 2 or 3 times a week, that's an easy place for me to get to it. There we are. Apparently I was going to make some Afghan biscuits, which is why I have some cornflakes. Then my refrigerator. Yes, this is also, I think it all needs to come out. I need do you think? I need to give it a good clean. Over here, I really need to move these up. They take up too much space. I like having my big Dutch oven here, and I do use it for all sorts of things, so it's a good thing, but also it doesn't fit anywhere else, so it lives on the stove top. I took the doors off on this side to open the shelving up, and I just have some things that are light and bright up there. That's where I keep my hand towels, or I use those mostly instead of paper towels. These need sorting out a bit, not too bad. And this is where I keep my teacups and special cups. I like this one from my mate Dean, who's the most creative, amazing man. And all my different teas, because I do like tea. Down here, I just use a little extra shelf to make up a little bit more space, because they're very deep drawers, you see, incredibly deep. So in order to make it useful, I put a little shelving system in it. And the same down here for just the plates. I just keep everything with the little shelf system. That works really well. Then here I've got good cutlery drawers. These are I think they're German. They are great containers. I can't remember the name. Baum, but they really keep everything pretty well tidy. And now this is an example of, do you get rid of things for the sake of it, or do you just keep them because you can? Now, in theory, I could get down to one knife, one spoon, one fork. No, I couldn't, because I have, when you have a dishwasher, you need more than that anyway. But in terms of bread knives, and this was a set, and normally in a block, but the block took up not too much space, so I popped them in the drawers. I use them all the time. I have a couple of pairs of scissors. I have a couple of potato peelers. That works really well for peeling butternut squash, that sort of thing. It's a corer. These are some salad servers, you see. These are just... Now, here we are. You say, well, what on earth is that, and why would you keep it? It's an oyster shucker, and it is the most useful item here. You can use it for everything. That's for garlic, and it works beautifully. Well, that's one shelf. See, I've just emptied that one. Now, the ones up here, they are empty containers, and that's where I keep my paper towels, because even though I try not to use them, there are some things that I simply do use them for. Like anything like a cooked tomato spill is impossible to get off. So there they all are. Now I have a couple of empty ones. That one's clean, that one's dirty. Now I want to sort of work it so that, for example, the rice can go into one of these, and then the oats can go in here. Now, because I have the shelf empty, I will, of course, give it a quick clean. It's a bit, it's okay. It's actually not too bad. It's just a bit, what can I say, crummy. It's a crummy shelf. That's all. A few crumbs. Not bad. And this gets done, honestly, probably, I don't know, let's say 4 times a year. Honestly, twice a year, it still would be fine. Next shelf is empty, and it's all down here. These two, I think I now have got containers I can put those in, which then can go up onto the baking shelf. So I'll just do that. Let's have a word about use by dates. Now, for some things, you're going to need them. But my son said to me the other day, but Mum, who puts the use by dates on the items? And of course, the people who make them and who want to sell you more of them. So to some degree, I would say, please use your common sense. Things like spices, they are not going to poison you if they have been kept in a sealed container. What will happen to them is that they may lose flavour. Now, that's up to you. Use 2 teaspoons instead of 1 if it's something like parsley flakes, which are a bit out of date. Actually, there we are. That's a classic example. That's 2018. I was using those the other day. They were fine. They impart flavour. Should I probably use a little bit more? Yes, and I'll use them up. And I now think, hey, I must use those up before I buy some new. Now, something, however, that isn't an option, and this doesn't even have a use by date on it, to my knowledge. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, this was a best before 2018, which I always date when I open a new packet of baking powder, because here in Australia, it most certainly does go off in the heat. Now, this one you can't see perhaps, but it's a 2001, so that one's going to be fine, but I will date it now, and this one I will use for cleaning, because it's only tartaric acid and baking soda. That's how you make baking powder. So that is a good thing for cleaning my sink with. So I'll go through them, sort them out, give the little containers a bit of a clean, and we'll be on the way. And there we are. That's the end of day one. It probably took me about 30 minutes, which is a bit longer than technically you'd hope for, but everything's back and tidy and I know exactly what's there. For example, I had 2 bags of red onions, so I can see some rather lovely caramelized onion in my future, but there's a little bit more space. I know everything's fresh, tidy, clean and ready to go. And I'm back and it's my day 2 here in the kitchen. Now you know how I love a list. I'm a list kind of person. So I have done the pantry, the rug. I've also got the non-slip mat that goes under the rug. I've got that soaking. That was really dirty. So today I'm in here. I'm in my refrigerator. I've got to do my cutting boards and my tea cupboard. And then pretty much everything else is okay. There's a list of things I need to buy to refill a bit, but that's something else I was going to say about simplifying your life, and that is that I'm trying more and more to only buy as I need things. Now this is breaking the habit of, well, almost a lifetime. I grew up in the country and you bought in bulk a little bit. We had a delivery most weeks from the old days when you could ring up the grocer and the grocer would bring the food in the van, and he would also pop past the butcher and collect those as well, and the fishman. So we actually know the fishman came in a separate van and you actually went out and selected the fish that you were going to have that week. How good was that? So yeah, I was a very lucky young person in that respect. Meat from the farm, anything extra from the butcher, and veggies from the backyard, and berries and fruit was pretty good. But when you're in the country you do bulk buy. Then when I was married you tend to, so you buy things that are on sale, or you think, oh, I do use that. The sensible thing to do is to buy it. I don't ever do that now. I do not buy in bulk. A, I don't have the space to store it, and B, I don't use things fast enough anymore. I know it's the hardest thing about being an empty nester, is not thinking like somebody who's preparing food for a family. It's really hard to click out of that. So anyway, I'm in the fridge today and we'll see if I can get through my list. Right, there we are. I'm just going to go shelf by shelf, my usual style, and I've got to pull everything out and I've got to wash the shelves as I go, and I particularly have to wash these, which is not good. Now the first step is, of course, to get the inside clean, and I'm just using the cleaner that I make with vinegar and water, tiny bit of dishwashing liquid, and then the rest is the orange water that I make whenever I peel an orange. I distill the water in boiling, I pour some boiling water over the peel and let it soak a little bit. Now these ones I will take out in a minute, but I might as well give them a little bit of a squirt to give them some dwell time. Nothing like dwell time to clean things properly. To spray it on, leave it for a minute. Here we go. It was a little bit grubby. Sometimes the grubby is on the underneath. Whoops, yeah, that one is. So I really can't be bothered taking these out. I use a lot of containers in my fridge, and that is a good space saver, but it's also really good in terms of keeping the shelves clean, so that you're not always dealing with lots of really difficult stains that you can get in here otherwise. I'll take that out, but first I'm going to pop everything else back in so that I've got a bit more space on the bench, because right now the bench looks like this. So there we go, all clean and tidy. I've got cheeses in here, those are the eggs. I tend to keep dairy at the top because it keeps it away from everything else. I don't want to have anything contaminating it. Here's my little girl, she's got fresh bicarb in her, ready to go for another few months. Got the nuts at the back, these are just jams, jellies and sauces and things. Got to have your sriracha, where would the world be? I've got some of my mission wraps in here. That's usually where I keep things like apples and oranges, but I've just discovered that it will fit down here, which is rather nice, one of these, so I think I'll keep them there from now on. I do need to do some shopping. Meat, I always keep meats in a tray, so even though that's sealed, there'll be no icky drips or anything like that. Bacon in here, and these things on top. They could actually go over here, wouldn't matter. They're all sealed and ready to go. They can go there. This is just fruit and veggies. I tend to wash and slice up the celery just so that it's ready to go. Some leeks and onions, and the zucchini are the ugly ones. I don't know if you have that, but we have a special place in the supermarket where you can buy ugly fruit, which, by the way, tastes just the same as pretty fruit, only costs less. You can tell I haven't been to the supermarket. I need to come and get some more bits and pieces to go in here to fill my salad jars for the week, and I've just got the carrots and everything else, but it's all clean and tidy. Now, this is called My Zone, and what I can do with this is I can turn it into a freezer or just have it as part of the fridge. So this is the fresh box where you put just fruit and veggies and things, but this is an adaptable space, so I can turn that into part of the freezer if I want to, if I need to, for things, you know, Christmas barbecues, that sort of thing. Over here, standard stuff. I like my SodaStream plain water, fizzy water, milk, and various bits and pieces, plus any supplements, and I've checked all of these, so it's all clean, tidy, fresh, and ready for another month. Now, it's been a bit more than 30 minutes. Do I have time to do this? I think I'll tidy this up, but I'll leave doing the boards until probably during the week. I just don't have time today. I've got to go out and do something else, and that's the thing. You've got to be flexible about this because you don't want to turn it into drudgery. I'll just quickly tidy that top cupboard and bring everything down and tidy it up. There we are. That's a little bit better. I've just consolidated some, and I've got a couple over there that I'm not particularly fond of. There we are, ready to give away. I know some people who will enjoy those. It's just not ones that I like. I'm just going to clean my sink, and I'm just going to use up this little bit of baking powder, and it cleans really well because it's just bicarb and cream of tartar. And there it is, all done as a zone for another month. It's looking a little bit simpler. The pantry is fresh and clean and tidy, which is great, and there's nothing that's past its use by date. And as you saw, the fridge is clean and fresh, and that's always a good start. Freezer can be part of next month's. The floor is clean, and I'm trying to decide whether I'll put the rug down again or not. It's clean at the moment. Maybe I'll pop it away for the summer. I've decluttered a little bit over here. I need to get a new little power board for that area. This side is nice and empty. This is the board that I do need to sand, and that's the best place for it to live because I do use it. I've got a very badly dripping tap that I need to have fixed, but that's about it really. Everything else is fine. I'll put this here for now. I'm not certain. I might put the other one back. So there we are. Slightly decluttered, slightly simplified, and definitely cleaner. So that's me done for another month. I hope that you got something out of it. It's all about making it as simple as possible, and for me that's getting pretty simple in a small space. So give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you find the same sorts of things are useful for you, and subscribe. Come along, there'll be more simple September in the next few weeks, and I hope that whatever you're doing today, you're having a lovely time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.